the grand final of the Rainy the Lords of Light Kanpai Pandas tournament. Uh, for those of you new to RTLOL, my name is Alcatraz. I'm the lead designer of the game, and it is my absolute pleasure to be here with you this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, wherever you happen to be around the world, to broadcast this exciting grand final for you. And Artkin, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hey guys, I'm super excited to be here as well. This is going to be the first match we live stream and commentate over, and no more fitting option than the grand final of our biggest tournament yet, with grand defending title holder Huncho versus newcomer Trixo. We should be in for a really good match today, so really looking forward to watching it with everyone and yeah, experiencing it in real time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just checking our audio settings now. I think we're going to be pretty good to go by the looks of that. Yeah, awesome. Cool. So yeah, for everyone else around the world, right now it is just after 8 a.m. Sydney time. It's actually a little bit earlier for us. We're broadcasting this with a 15-minute delay. So definitely please type to us in chat on both. We're live on Twitch and on YouTube on Rainy Studios on both of those platforms. But yeah, obviously there may be a bit of a delay between us being able to see your comments and being able to talk about them. But yeah, this is God. Just to give a bit of a recap, so this is the third major tournament that we've run now for Rainy the Lords of Light. We had a community tournament in both December and January, and Huncho, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, is our current two-time reigning and defending champion. He's looked nigh unbeatable. I know he mentioned actually that he dropped a game in the third tournament, and it was the first time he had actually lost a game in a tournament since December. Um, Artkin, like, how do we describe Huncho's reign of terror?
It's yeah, indomitable. I'd say would be the best word. He has shown a lot of creativity in both deck building and play style. I was really thrilled to see the deck. One of the decks he ran in this tournament, which I guess everyone will see coming up. I won't spoil it, but there was a lot of creativity that even compared to last tournament. So he's always experimenting with new cards, new combinations, and mixing it up. And then I guess his play is almost impeccable. When he's there, he can be very greedy when he needs to be. He can be very, I guess, not greedy when it's appropriate to take a more conservative route, and always tends to come out ahead. However, the one game you were mentioning that he dropped was to George in the semifinals, and that was definitely a nail biter to watch. It was really exciting. So I'm hoping to see some more games like that in this match. Yeah, and having never seen Trixo play before, I'm really keen to see his play style.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of our challenger, I was chatting with some of our community members who, I mean, had the pleasure or the displeasure, I guess, of being beaten by Trixo on Trixo's way to the grand final. And it was really interesting to me that a lot of the community members were mentioning that there's a very stark difference in their playstyles. You'll notice Huncho uses the whole time available to him every turn. So the start of every turn, he'll sit there, he's thinking, he's calculating, he's working out the best play, and then does a lot of actions very quickly at the end of the turn to make sure everything gets through. Whereas Trixo, from what I've been told, very fast player, very pretty much puts that pressure on his opponents by not giving them that full turn of his own time to sort of be able to sit back, relax, and think, just constantly pushing hard. And I think we're going to see those stark differences in playstyles really come into play today. So definitely be very interesting to see how this sort of plays out.
Yeah, that's an
Obviously, we've
interesting
got the
I guess topic actually, because when you're talking about like a strategic card game, the aggressive versus more control oriented style is kind of how you play the game. But yeah, it can factor in everything as minor or seemingly minor as how long you take to play your turn. Because obviously, if if Trixo plays his turn very quickly, then Huncho's turn timer begins. It really cuts into his total thinking time for every turn. So that's a really interesting point you've raised there.
And who knows, like either way, we're either going to have a 3-time back-to-back-to-back champion when the dust settles today, or Huncho's reign of terror is going to finally be put to bed. So either way, we're pretty much set for a very exciting final here. And obviously, we'd be completely remiss not to give a huge shout out and thanks to our tournament sponsor for this event, Kanpai Pandas. So yeah, one of the largest and definitely one of the most well-respected NFT projects in Web3 today. Chris, you want to give a little bit of background on Kanpai Pandas, because I know you've had a fair bit to do with them, and they're very cool organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kanpai Pandas haven't been around that long in the scheme of things, although neither have NFTs, but it's remarkable the amount that they have progressed in such a short space of time. So they have some of the most well-respected spokespeople, advisors signed on from the real world. They've hosted a number of exclusive parties. They give exclusive tickets to major sporting events. And they're about to introduce their new revolutionary Kanpai Panda point system, where you'll passively earn Panda points just for owning the NFTs. And you can use those points to gamble in mini games that they're setting up. We've been contracted by the Kanpai Pandas to produce a bespoke mini game for them with all their IP. So we're really excited to do that. I believe you'll be able to buy certain things with the points as well, but they're always pushing the envelope. I think the latest is with a major UFC heavyweight champion signing on. They have launched their apparel line. So if you're a big Kanpai Panda fan, you can get like a hoodie or whatever else you like. They're really going for a global brand recognition strategy, and they've been quite effective so far. So huge thank you to the Kanpai Pandas for sponsoring the tournament, putting up the major prize, which is an NFT from their collection, as well as some Panda points for, I believe, top 8. And yeah, there are a lot more prizes in the prize pool. The Lucky Door prize pool has expanded a lot. And I will remind one aspect of the prize pool now, just before we jump into this match. There is a bounty on Huncho's head. Since he has been so undefeatable, if Trixo manages to win this, not only will he win the Kanpai Panda, he will also take home a Genesis Premium Pack for taking that bounty that has been outstanding for the whole duration of this tournament.
Yeah, for those people tuning in and joining us today who might be a little less familiar with the Web3 world and NFTs in particular, it's worth noting that that particular Kanpai Pandas NFT that will be going out to the winner today, what we call the floor price, or the cheapest that you could buy one of those if you wanted to at the moment, is 2.2 Ethereum, which translates to just under 5,500 Australian dollars. What's that in? I'll quote it in real dollars for or freedom dollars, I should say. So that's just over 3,700 US dollars. So as I'm sure you can understand, very big prize up top for our competitors today. So yeah, probably for both of them, this could quite easily be the most high pressure game of RTLOL they ever play. So very excited to see how this goes, and very keen to see how Huncho goes, because he's obviously back-to-back champion. He definitely knows what he's doing. But I mean, Artkin, what do you think? Like that sort of massive prize up top, that pressure's got to get to people at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had so many reports from this tournament and last tournament where the stakes were a little bit lower, like you're just qualifying to get to that grand prize, where people would come out of a really close game or match and commentate that they were drenched with sweat from the stress. So I can only imagine that the grand finals with that big a prize up for grabs should be the most extreme version of that we've seen to date. So I don't want to see our competitors in misery, but I'm also excited to see just whether that affects any of the gameplay decisions. I know from watching a bunch of Hearthstone and MTG, sometimes the pressure can get to a competitor and they can miss lethal or make a key mistake, just that they would usually never miss in the comfort of their home in a normal game. So yeah, hopefully we don't see anything too extreme like that, and the game is just close based on its own merits. But it will be interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely been a busy week in the Rainiverse. Obviously, one of the big highlights was this massive tournament. Obviously started last weekend. 56 competitors, so absolutely smashing our records for previous events. And I'd love to just give a shout out to our tournament partner Blue Mint as well. The team over at Blue Mint have been amazing. Not only do they have the amazing infrastructure and systems in place to organize and help us run tournaments such as these, but their team actually are, they're in our Discord, they're in our Telegram chat, they're constantly, every time we run an event with them, they're right there alongside, making sure that everything goes smoothly. So just a huge shout out to Blue Mint, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing more events with them as we move forward. One thing I actually can announce that we are in the process of organising with them as well is Blue Mint is actually going to start running community nights for our community as well. So they'll be still set up in like a tournament structure where you'll play a couple of games against some different people. Much more relaxed. We're probably not actually looking at doing prizes for the winners of those community nights, but there'll be more prizes for participation. But that should be just a great way to have some regular weekly events up and running, where obviously you can come along and play some RTLOL with the community. And I mean, what better time to get into RTLOL than right now with the launch of Seven Deadly Sins? Arkin, did you want to give us a super quick recap on the week that we've had with Seven Deadly Sins?
Yeah, it's been a massive one. I would say first of all, we ran our first signature edition auction, partnered with Joe Pegs or Trader Joe, which went amazingly well. I think the end price for the NFT was 110.69 AVAX, so love the meme reference there. But that equates to around $2,000 US. So there was some fierce competition for that NFT. For anyone who missed it, the signature collection is essentially just taking some of our best works of art from the game and making one-of-one collector items. They're not cards in the game, but the owner of one of these NFTs will have exclusive usage of them as like a profile picture within the RTLOL game and future Rainy Studios games. And there are a couple of other perks. In this case, the winner is able to organize a 1-hour session with any of the Rainy team members of their choice to get some guidance or discuss whatever they like, or just to even play some games or get some help on deck building. And the big one, they get to design a card for the RTLOL universe for an upcoming expansion. So I know we've already been in contact with the winner, and we have some interesting ideas for what the new card will be. So stay tuned for what they're thinking. We'll let them decide whether they want to reveal their identity or not. But yeah, just wanted to announce that we have been speaking to the winner of that auction and already well down the path of designing their card. Beyond that, we did our initial allocation for the Seven Deadly Sins drop, which is a mini set of 15 cards. You've got 7 rares, 7 legendaries, and 1 mythic. All of these cards will be added to the game very soon. We've got most of the implementation from a development perspective done. But yeah, so the initial allocation, I think we've minted about 90% of what we made available to the public, which was fantastic. It far exceeded our expectations. So thank you to everyone who took the time and participated in that mint so far. I guess the big announcement there, in case you missed it, is because of how successful the initial allocation was in minting, we have decided to do a final allocation. We did hold back some collector packs and chat bundles. So those will be going live in about an hour, just after this tournament. So if you haven't already checked it out, go to the rainy.io website and head on over to the 7 Deadly Sins page. You'll see all the cards there. And yeah, in an hour, if you're fast enough, you might be able to get your hands on a Chad bundle. Otherwise, there should be some more collector packs being made available on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain as well. But yeah, those are probably the big ones. Over to you, Alcatraz, if you wanted to provide any additional details.
No, I mean that's definitely the big thing. But yeah, again, like just from the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everyone who has gotten involved, who's excited about Seven Deadly Sins. It's our first new cards that we've dropped in quite a while, and the response from the community has just been incredible. And speaking as a designer and obviously as someone who loves playing trading card games, I'm really keen to see how Seven Deadly Sins shakes up the metagame. There's a lot of very interesting cards in that set. Obviously, it's a mini set. So there's only 15 new cards, so you'll still be using a lot of the existing cards that we have. So for anyone who hasn't actually seen yet, there's 7 rares, 1 for each color, 7 legendaries, again 1 for each color, and that one big mythic, the Seven Deadly Sins, that costs 7 rainbow gems to play. That one being the big one, obviously. So we're just in the process of getting our players into the lobby now and getting the game underway. I probably should have prepared like some sort of splash screen to put over this, but hey, everyone can see the lobby. But you can't see the whole invitation code, so you can't join. But yeah, as soon as our players are in and they tell us that we're ready, we're going to get underway with game number 1. We're just also, some of our team members are joining in as well, because obviously we're going to be recording this to produce some videos for this a bit later on as well. So I'll give Arkin a second because I know he's jumping in. Yep, there he is there.
Just
I
hang
believe we've
tight.
got one more team member.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
All right.
that one.
I'll just, now that 15 minutes have gone, we should actually be live. So I'm just going to quickly check that everyone can see us on Twitch. Oh, we've got 8 viewers on Twitch. So good morning, Bitcoin Moon and Ash. Welcome. And looks like we're live on YouTube as well. Oh, let me just mute myself because I don't like the sound of my own voice. And we've got Ash watching on both. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone who's tuning in this morning. And we're about to get underway. Let me just check that our players are ready. So Arkin, do you reckon we'll see aggressive decks or more control decks for game number 1?
I think our meta at the moment is quite control oriented. However, I was pleasantly surprised to see some more aggressive decks not just feature in the tournament so far, but actually make a big impact and win some games. So, if I had to guess, I would say we're going to see a skew towards control, but we might see one of the decks from either or both players being a bit more aggressive. I think both of them will probably run like a pretty heavy control deck as one of their two. But yeah, what about you? What's your prediction?
So it's interesting. Keep in mind with the rules of the tournament. So whichever deck you win with, you can't use again. So I personally think we'll see the more aggressive decks up front. People will try and get that quick first early win. And then obviously we'll have to wait and see when we have potentially game 2 and even maybe game 3 could be the battle of the control decks. Make sure the players are good to go. That's not one of our team members, is it? That last one, is it, Chris?
No. 1CO3. Not sure who that is.
All right. Well, yeah. Good luck to our competitors. We're about to start now. And yeah, let's go.
Good luck. Okay, we have a red and purple hero.
So, Huncho is starting off with what looks like a very aggressive deck here.
Yeah, surprising from Huncho. Seems to have a slower deck from Trixo.
Yeah, more of a control deck there. We've obviously got Aurora in Trixo's hand there. But yeah, so let's yeah, Huncho with Year of the Rabbit. So yeah, definitely aiming for the aggressive deck there.
Chooses to take the 20 damage with an empty board just to get that extra red gem.
Yeah, yeah. Couple of 3-drops in Huncho's hand there, so clearly wanted to get the Year of the Rabbit down as early as possible. Trixo with a much slower hand, but definitely with a lot of defensive capabilities there. So it's really going to be interesting to see if Huncho is able to punch through that defensive wall that Trixo is going to be putting up on turns 4 and 5. And as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, you can clearly see here Huncho very slow, very deliberate in his playstyle.
Interestingly, decides to keep both Shocktooth Tigers in hand. For anyone who doesn't know, they have the little lightning bolt means they have an on-stake ability. If you stake them, in addition to getting a gem of their color, it triggers another effect. In Shocktooth Tiger's case, it deals 10 damage to all enemy minions. So they can be quite handy to just deal a little bit extra damage, particularly when you've just played Year of the Rabbit. So both players are going to be spamming little 10/10s that can be killed by that on-stake ability, essentially.
Trixo with a bear market in hand. So with our season cards, you'll see the season area over on the left-hand side of the screen. Either player can play a season, and it has an effect across the entire game. But yeah, Trixo might have a bit of trouble getting that blue gem that they need to actually get it down into play.
Ooh, it doesn't play
Chooses
anything.
not to play the Tree Mage. Yeah, it chooses not to play the Tree Mage, which is interesting. Obviously, you know, we can see that it would most likely just be killed off pretty much straight away. Stakes the Shocktooth. Potentially building into an early Cyclops here too. Cyclops having the ability that costs 1 less gem for each minion in play. So a very nice little combo there with Year of the Rabbit, where Huncho's going to build up a board very, very quickly. And again, going for that very early damage, trying to put that pressure onto Trixo as quick as possible.
So I'm expecting to see a smoothie here, which has 50 HP and 80 thorns. So anytime anyone attacks into it, they take an extra 80 damage. 0 power, but then the thorns damage is going to kill basically anything on the board at the moment. It could probably, from the looks of it, kill at least 1, if not 2 minions, depending on how Huncho plays it.
Yeah, Huncho in a really good spot here. Potentially be able to drop the Behemoth. So gains a lot of power as minions die. So potentially even here wants to start trading in to Smoothie. Could trade in with one of the 30 power minions as well as both Year of the Rabbits. And building up quite a big Behemoth there that will be able to punch through almost anything that Trixo could potentially be playing on turn 5. Obviously we know that Trixo did have to stake the other Smoothie that was in their hand. So yeah, a little bit of that defensive power sort of gone there.
There it is, powering up the Behemoth.
And probably will even trade here. Oh no, goes for the face. Could have traded the Year of the Rabbit. Don't know if I would have potentially done that, because you're always worried when you have a minion on 60 health. Because obviously we do have energy blasts available in every color, which can do 60 damage. We've got the benefit of knowing that Trixo doesn't have one of those in their hand. But yeah, definitely would be something I would have been wary of.
Yeah. It's a difficult spot for Trixo from here, with an 80-70 on board, and then the more minions that get played, then the easier it's going to be for Huncho to put down those Cyclops. So, yeah, tricky one.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, especially, like, obviously with the benefit of seeing Trixo's hand, like, that Behemoth, there's no answer there at the moment, and that could get out of control very, very quickly. Plays the Turtle Warrior. Turtle Warrior gains Force Field any turn it doesn't attack. So, yeah, interesting little defensive card there. And yeah, has to trade in the Rabbit, but obviously that Behemoth up to 100 attack. with the Fenrir in hand as well now, so a lot of lifesteal power on Huncho's side. Although it has to trade it, obviously wanting to go with the Cyclops there by the looks of it. Maybe even the Replicators. Wow, this is such a powerful hand that Huncho has.
Yeah, I'm expecting a Cyclops here just to really solidify the board, but
Yeah, it's. I mean, you could definitely. Is that enough? Drops it to four.
would
One, two, three,
alternatively
four,
play
five,
the
six.
Replicator, trade in the Manticore to remove the force field and Energy Blast the turtle. Oh yeah,
Yeah, Replicator and Cyclops.
that's
Again, Year
that,
of the Rabbit's so powerful there as Huncho builds up a full board. Um, could trade in or just take the 100 damage that you can deal to the face.
yeah,
Lot of options there. Chooses to go face. Trixo in a bit of trouble here because that's looking very much like Huncho has lethal, and
I don't see
yeah,
any answers. Yeah,
looking at Trixo's hand. I mean, even like Bear Market gets rid of some of the rabbits. That's not enough.
it's going to power up the
Um,
Behemoth if he does that. You kill two rabbits, you take an
yeah,
extra 20 damage compared to if they were just on their own.
yeah, that Year of the Rabbit card really shaking up the meta.
Yeah.
And Huncho obviously realizing the power behind that card. Interestingly, this was actually the card that we gave out for free on Avalanche Network to everyone who was one of our alpha testers. So yeah, very interesting card that's shaking up the meta there a little bit. There's two more minions, but that's not enough. This is going to be game one, going over to Huncho, I think.
Yeah, I he needs more gems to get Vitalik out. Same with Earth Elemental or the Sand Elemental to get some Guardians. There's really nothing. GG.
Yeah, yeah. Trixo having a very powerful hand, but just not quite having the speed needed to be able to get that board control.
Absolutely. It looked like your prediction was right, Alcatraz. We saw a more aggressive deck take game one. As we were saying earlier, the rules of the tournament are that now that Hunter has won a game, he cannot run that deck again. So he's going to have to use his second deck, whereas Trixo can use either of his decks. So let's see if there's if Hunter's second deck is as powerful as the first, and whether Trixo can take a game or not.
Yeah. So we'll send game to we'll send the codes out to everyone. And then we'll quickly just recap that game. Because yeah, that was a very dominant performance by Huncho. And yeah, so as you were mentioning there, Artkin, with the way that we set up our best of three tournaments, Huncho now can't use that same deck again, has to switch to a different deck. Trixo could use the same deck again, or has the choice of switching as well, so completely up to them. But yeah, let's I mean, what do you think's going through each of our players' minds at the moment, Arkin? Like, how do you reckon Huncho is feeling after such a dominant win? And is Trixo going to be able to sort of shake that off and just focus on game number two now?
Yeah, I think from what we saw of Hunter's play in the tournament so far, he's quite comfortable with his second deck. I think this first one that he's just won with was the more experimental deck, incorporating Year of the Rabbit and trying some new combinations of minions. So he likely wouldn't have had as much practice with that. I think his second deck, if it's the one I'm thinking of, he's had plenty of practice. He's very comfortable with the play style. So I can only imagine he's feeling very confident right now, cautiously optimistic. Conversely, I would think Trixo would be up against the ropes and feeling quite stressed. You're playing the two-time champion who barely loses any games, and you're down 0-1. So yeah, a lot of pressure to try to take a game here and even up the scoreboard.
Yeah, so without any further ado, our players are ready.
Hang on, I think we're
Let's
waiting
get
on
into.
one spectator.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was waiting for one of our team members who's recording.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the deck we saw there from Trixo, I'm interested to see if they decide to go with the same deck or switch it up. Um, that would be a very interesting decision there. But I mean, if Huncho is going to run that more defensive, more slower control deck that we have seen him favor in the past, I think maybe what Trixo had there sort of more favors that matchup. Aurora, we did see an Aurora in Trixo's hand, and Aurora absolutely, if you're going to go to that late game attrition, is a key card for that matchup.
Yeah, interestingly, it synergizes very well with Year of the Rabbit as well. So that's where Hunter's season could have worked against him if Trixo managed to get some board control and take it to the late game with that Aurora in play. However, unfortunately, just didn't get to that spot. The Behemoth basically smashed face until there was no face left.
Yeah, and interestingly, it's a card that didn't really see a lot of play until Year of the Rabbit. So obviously interesting to see how, as new cards get added to the metagame, how it can revitalize even some of our older cards there as well. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to kick into game number 2. So good luck to our competitors. Obviously, Huncho up 1-0, and on match point, playing off for that Kanpai Pandas NFT.
Good luck. Okay, I see Rainagons and money prints for Huncho.
Yep, this is very much going to be that slower control matchup that we expected from Huncho. Looks like might even be keeping just one of the money prints. So potentially, oh, and gets another one back in hand too. So a very slow hand there on Huncho's side.
And he's playing second, so he gets the rainbow recharge.
Switch over to yeah, Trixo just goes for the gem. I'm seeing elementals in Trixo's hand, so yeah, probably in for that control on control style matchup there.
Going first with a couple of tree mages in hand is definitely an advantage that Trixo might be able to press if he can protect them. For anyone who doesn't know, tree mage creates a depleted green gem when you play it, but when it dies, it will destroy one of your green gems. So the longer you can have it on the field, the longer you have that gem advantage.
Also interesting to note, with both of our players at least running purple champions, one of the core abilities that purple cards have is Banish, that will basically return a minion back to its owner's hand with no cost to replay it. So a fairly interesting and unique mechanic for RTLOL, but important to note, especially for Tree Mage, that Banish won't trigger that on-death ability. So yeah, if Trixo is able to have some of their Tree Mages get banished, potentially, that could also be a very powerful combo. Here with both players dropping Tree Mages early, so going for that mana acceleration. It'll be interesting to see if Trixo decides to make the trade here. Doesn't really have much in hand to take advantage of that 5th gem.
He could play 2 tree mages. Oh, he's already staked. No, he's only got 5. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he takes the trade.
Goes for the trade. Obviously, we've got the benefit of knowing what's in Huncho's hand. That obviously is going to slow down that money print by a turn. So, yeah, and forces Huncho potentially to have to stake another green card. Which might even be the money print, maybe, depending on... Oh,
Earth Elemental.
Chooses to stake the Elemental instead.
You gotta expect the turtle
so
here.
Sacrificing. Yep. Yeah, Huncho a big fan of the turtles, because yeah, if you leave them around for too long, like, the fact they can regenerate force fields over and over does favor that sort of long-term value plan. I mean, having said that, Smoothie definitely able to sort of sit there and block a lot of that as well.
Yeah. It's good. Keep the Tree Mage in play a bit longer for Trixo. See if he can ramp out some bigger cards.
obviously one of the cool things for any of our players who might be tuning in for the first time here, might be a little bit new to RTLOL in general. Uh, One of the interesting things with our game is the fact that you can actually play cards across a variety of different colors. Gets that force field back on the turtle there. So unlike, say, maybe a trading card game like, say, Hearthstone, where you've got to build using just one class of card, with RTLOL, you can literally build decks using any of the 7 colors. And with our staking and gem mechanic, obviously, as you add more colors, can you add a little bit of inconsistency to the deck, but opens up a lot of interesting strategic deck building opportunities. Trixo with the turtle now in hand as well. This could end up being a battle of the force fields. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone makes that critical misplay, and potentially that these sort of games can really just come down to that one key mistake, costing a lot.
Chooses to play the second smoothie to add some additional protection for the tree mage. If the tree mage survives another turn, I think we could get the earth elemental out.
Oh wow, Huncho just drew a Lorem Ipsum. That's a really powerful legendary spell. Will give a minion pumped, Guardian, Force Field, and Lifesteal. So that could potentially give us a very, very powerful either Smoothie or Turtle Warrior on Huncho's side of the board. Huncho slowing down there a little bit this turn. I think that might have been planning on just going with the money print this turn, but maybe drawing that Lorem Ipsum has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. Maybe trying to work out the best way to sort of punch through Trixo's defensive line there using that powerful card.
Yeah, unfortunately, the smoothie has 0 power and only 10 venom, so it can't kill the 20 HP smoothie on the opponent's side. He's just going for the ramp. Yeah, the money print. Adding those 2 green gems doesn't do anything for the board state, but yeah, it definitely helps over the long term if you can take advantage of it. Oh, we got a Blaze Dog for Trixo. Blaze Dog gives all of your friendly minions plus 20 Venom. Venom does additional damage on attack only to enemy minions. And he also has 420 Venom himself.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting references to the number 420 in this game. We'll leave it at that, but yeah, definitely.
He has 60-90 stat line as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting stat line there. Yeah, 60-90.
Yeah, the Earth Elemental was the more expected play, though. It uses the gems more efficiently. You can still keep the Blaze Dog in hand for a bit later. Yeah, it looks like the Earth Elemental ability just went on the Smoothie, though, so we don't have any extra Guardian. And now Smoothie is up to 100 Thorns, so... We got the Aurora.
Yeah, Huncho obviously recognizing that the long-term value of a card like Aurora, which gives every minion for the rest of the game on Huncho's side of the board an extra 20 power and 20 HP. Yeah, definitely acknowledging that this is going to be that long-term game of attrition. Trixo with a very powerful hand. Obviously, Flame Elementals, very powerful 90-80 stat line, but also can deal 30 damage for each elemental you control when played as well. So, potentially, if Trixo can get this attack right, might be able to knock the force field down and then use Fire Elemental to kill it. Interestingly enough, though, still needs to punch through that Smoothie in the first place. So needs to make sure that this attack plays out correctly, but definitely has the tools. Wonder if that was a misplay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Wasn't. Oh, no, there we go. Just going for that more defensive defensive stat line there, hanging back onto the Flame Elementals.
I mean,
Again,
if these stick till next turn, the Flame Elemental will do 90 damage to an enemy minion, so... but Huncho has a flame elemental of his own. No other
Yeah,
elementals on
definitely looks
board.
definitely looks like Trixo's been able to shake off that first game as well, and definitely looks to be putting up much more of a fight this game.
Absolutely. It's a much closer one. It's hard to say who's in the lead, though, because Huncho has the gem advantage, the Aurora advantage, and the card advantage, but is clearly behind on board. So let's see what happens here. One of the Earth Elementals goes down.
I think we've got a bit of a visual glitch there with the force field on Turtle Warrior. Obviously, probably worth noting here as well, RTLOL is still currently in open alpha, so we are still relatively early on in the life of this game. But yeah, definitely a good time to get in and play if you're new to the game. Currently, all cards are actually unlocked, so the players can jump in, free to play. You're able to play with literally any cards, any decks at this point in time. So yeah, definitely a good time to learn the game.
Here's the Flame Elemental taking out the smoothie. Just goes face.
Decides to go face there. We'll start putting that pressure onto Huncho. Obviously, we know that with that Lorem Ipsum in hand, Huncho's got the ability to get some lifesteal out there. But generally speaking, lifesteal very much a yellow ability, where neither player really seemed to have that. So
Yeah, the Lorem Ipsum isn't seeing as much play as, say, the mythic legendary minions, but you could expect a Chad Rainey here, which also has lifesteal, or a Q-Rog if you get too far behind. Yeah, but I feel like Huncho is starting to take control of this game at this stage.
bit of overkill damage there. And yeah, like I said, that that Flame Elemental just hanging around on 10 HP, Aurora definitely providing some value there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Trixo does not have any incidental damage in hand. Just as I say that.
Oh wow, that's a massive draw.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
huge.
the the bear market, which when you play it does 10 damage to every minion on the board. So that's going to knock off the force field. That's going to kill the flame elemental. That's huge.
Yeah, and it's going to take the Earth Elemental down to one hit range from the Flame Elemental.
Yeah. So as I said, there is a visual glitch I think in spectate mode at the moment, just where that force field's still showing, but interesting to see how our players choose to how Trixo chooses to capitalize on this shift in momentum.
He also has a lot of different colored gems, which has brought that Rainigon cost down to 4. Might want to play that now. Hopefully he doesn't rope. He does play the Rainigon, but nothing else. Okay.
Choosing to ignore that Turtle Warrior maybe understands that at this later stage of the game, without it having Guardian, maybe it's not quite as much of a threat as it was in the mid game.
So with the gems in Huncho's tray, Trixo does not have to be afraid of a crypto ban. That one costs more than 1 red gem, which is all he's got. Yeah, similar for Regulate, that costs 2 orange. So there's not a lot of AoE potential that Huncho could have in hand.
Yeah, obviously the Quantum Rug being the big one, that
Big
mythic
one.
that destroys every other minion in play.
Which Trixo just drew.
Which we now see in Trixo's hand. Um, I mean, it's an interesting spot here. You could Blaze Dog, which then lets Raynigon get through the Guardian Elemental, or maybe you just drop Rug, um, clear the board, have a nice big minion on your side, and see what extra gas Huncho has left in the tank.
If he does drop Rug, he should kamikaze his minions in first. It'll get
Yeah, absolutely.
30 more stats that way. Rug clears the board but loses 10 power and 10 HP for every minion it destroys. I think I'd try to be a bit greedier with the Rug though, try to bait some more in this position.
Yeah, maybe that's what's going through Trixo's mind. Nope, drops the
Oh,
Rug.
doesn't trade in first either. It's going to be a bit weaker.
Interestingly, chooses not to stake here. I've seen this play in on-control matchups a few times now, where players starting to realize that if he's going to go to a war of attrition, Trixo with 18 cards left in death, Huncho with 16, that maybe you don't need to stake and draw those extra cards straight away. They can actually be worth just sitting back and waiting. Huncho playing out 2 Guardians here.
We see an airdrop for Trixo. He could potentially play both of the big cards in hand then. Stakes it instead. Gets a Raynigon. That's a good draw.
Yeah, it could definitely drop as long as Trixo uses gems correctly. Could definitely drop the Raynigon and say the Smoothie. That Aurora on Huncho's side providing so much extra value though.
I believe he could do Raynigon and Blaze Dog. He's got 11 gems. Use all the green for Blaze Dog, and then you've still got the 3 rainbow for Raynigon.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Actually has the full 7 colors on Trixo's side.
Shame 7 Deadly Sins isn't in the game yet, hey?
It's not there yet. It will be very, very soon. Obviously, we chose not to release it this week, so our competitors could play this grand final out on the same patch as last week's tournament. And also important to note as well that they are using the same decks and same heroes as they used in the tournament as well. So this literally just being the continuation, the grand final of that event from last weekend. But yeah, Huncho here looking in a very dominant position to potentially become our 3-time champion. And you just have to ask yourself at this point, what is it going to take to stop Huncho?
Yeah. I feel like Huncho has played very well these games. There were some small misplays from Trixo's part. So potentially it takes someone who is able to, under the pressure of a grand final or whatever the tournament stakes are, just play perfectly to get to the level of taking Huncho down. I'm sure it's possible. I mean, we saw it on the weekend with the George v Huncho match, where George took him down and had a close game too. So it can be done.
I mean, even just there, playing the Blaze Dog before the Raynigon, missing those 20 points of Venom on the Raynigon. Let's see if that potentially even comes back and maybe can cause some issues there for Huncho. We're seeing a very similar hand on Trixo's side as what Huncho has on the board. So clearly both of these players acknowledging the power of these particular cards, the strength of the elementals, the power of green having that gem acceleration. Drops the Smoothie there just to get that little bit of extra defensive stats on the board.
Yep.
Huncho with quite a lot of power. if he's able to punch through.
Yeah, the cumulative value of that early Aurora off the back of the money print has definitely come in handy this game.
Mm. And obviously we know that yeah, there will be some cards coming up in future sets that maybe change how you want to use Aurora a little bit, but as it stands right now, definitely one of the more powerful mythics in the game.
Shout out to the community for thoroughly playtesting it because it was actually even stronger when it first was released. So we're expecting a similar sort of thing to happen with Seven Deadly Sins. The more you guys can play and give us feedback, the more we can get the game to a really balanced spot. Ooh.
I mean, Trixo in a precarious situation here, and
Stakes the bear
stakes away the
market.
bear market. I mean, the Earth Elemental, again, it's a nice defensive card, but I just don't know if it's going to do enough.
It did get the on play effect on two different minions, and both the ones that couldn't attack. So it's maximized the defense. It just doesn't seem to be enough though, with only 120 HP
Yeah,
left.
Blaze Dog obviously being a powerful minion to attack, and that is it.
3 tournaments in a
Ladies and
row,
gentlemen,
undefeated.
please give it up in chat for our back-to-back tournament champion, Huncho. An incredibly dominant performance there.
Well
Yeah,
played.
that was absolutely well played, and yeah, two very different decks with very different playstyles, but able to obviously pilot both of them, and pick up the win. That was I don't even I'm lost for words. That was brutal. And I can only imagine like this is the same sort of dominant performance that we've seen over and over from Huncho in these tournaments. Just a very dominant display, not only of being able to pilot these decks very effectively under high pressure situations, but also just in both deck building and deck design, always seeming to be that just one step ahead of the metagame. Definitely in the case of the deck we saw in game one, um, understanding the power of Year of the Rabbit and being able to build a deck around that very quickly, because that was only introduced the week leading up to the tournament. So not a lot of prep time there. But again, having the courage to take that deck and pilot it the whole way through to the win. Very, very dominant there. That was yeah, very impressive to see.
Yeah, that was a stellar performance. So Huncho, obviously a seasoned card game veteran. I don't know his background, but I can imagine he's played a lot of similar card games in the past, whether it's Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, you name it. That sort of cumulative experience definitely carries over. Although our game is completely unique and we have a lot of mechanics, I think there's no substitution for that level of experience in doing things like incorporating a brand new card within the space of a week. Just understanding on that deep level how it's going to impact the game, testing it out a little bit to verify your theory, and then taking it forward. So massive respect where respect is due. Congratulations to Huncho, who will be taking down that massive grand prize of Kanpai Panda NFT worth, I think the estimate's worth 3,700 US dollars. Well played to Trixo, his opponent, and congratulations on making it all the way to the grand final, which is a great achievement in and of itself. We do have a lot of competition. We have a pretty active community of some players who are quite competitive as well. And I guess the ultimate thing is the bounty still stands. Any tournament match, take down Huncho, you get a Genesis premium pack on top of whatever else the prize pool is. So maybe some people can study this stream and the replays and see if you can build a tech deck to take him down.
And yeah, obviously definitely worth just touching on as well that before our next tournament, which is scheduled in March, we haven't set an exact date for it yet, but stay tuned on all of the Rainy Studio socials for that one. The new cards from Seven Deadly Sins will be live in game for everyone to use. So a lot of cards there. They're going to mix up the metagame. A lot of different decks, and more importantly, everyone. It's very much going to be an even playing field. Obviously we've got players like Huncho and a lot of our tournament veterans who have been around for a very long time, working through this current metagame. But with the massive shakeup that we're about to hit with Seven Deadly Sins dropping, I have to imagine that even though there'll be a lot of testing, a lot of new decks being built, maybe our players won't quite pick out what the most powerful decks are going to be right from the start. So very, very interesting to see how that's going to all play out.
Yeah, that's a good point. No better opportunity than the coming weeks and the March tournament to get into the game. Since anytime you release new cards, all of the meta that's been established for a while gets shaken up completely, and you have a good chance to I guess accelerate your competitiveness relative to the rest of the players. We'll also note that the March tournament is scheduled to be the Avalanche sponsored one. We will be meeting most of the key Avalabs team members over the next couple of weeks. We're heading to Vegas for Dice and an MGS talk, heading to San Francisco, and finishing off in East Denver. So if you're around at any of these events, give us a yell on the Telegram or Discord. Maybe we can meet up. It'd be great to meet some of you guys in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, if you are joining us for the first time, maybe you haven't played RTLOL before, as I said, never a better time to get into the game. You can check out all of our socials. You can jump in our Telegram or our Discord. All the links are shared on all of these videos. And yeah, come jump in. There's a really fun little tutorial that teaches you how to play. We're actually in the middle of building out a brand new bot match mode. So even if you want to just practice against an AI opponent, because maybe you don't want to show off your brand new decks just yet, you want to have a chance to test them out against the computer. That's coming in very, very soon as well. And obviously, Seven Deadly Sins, the big new set. I've got to ask, Artkin, what's your favorite card from that set so far? What card are you most excited to see?
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of contenders. I really love the art of the Mythic, which is called Seven Deadly Sins, and I think that playstyle could be interesting in the game we just saw because it is a big ask to get all seven different colored gems. But we just saw even without the payoff of that Mythic, it can be done, and it was done at the grand finals of this tournament. So I'm expecting to see the Mythic see quite a bit of play due to its really powerful effect. I'm expecting we already see a lot of green prevalence in the tournament, so adding gluttony to that, I feel is just going to make it a really green dominated meta. But interested to see how it all pans out. And then I think the card art for Meekness is very cute. So there's quite a few that I want to see. I like the interaction between Lust and Chastity. Which also has quite nice art to reflect it. I think that's a bit of a fan favorite, the last one. Yeah, so quite a few cards I'm really keen to see in tournament gameplay, and I'm curious to see how the players will combine them with the existing set of cards because I think there are some really powerful combos there just waiting to be uncovered and fielded. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I know from a lot of the testing we're doing, Gluttony like really shakes up the game. A 100 power, 100 HP minion for 5 green gems. Obviously, a very heavy investment in green, but yeah, if you're able to get that bad boy down, that's a big meatball swinging at your face over and over and over. And I mean, I got to be honest, I'm always going to be a fan of Lust and Chastity. They're two very cool cards with a very unique interaction between themselves. Lust, obviously, again, a big legendary red minion with Overkill that gains extra power if it attacks into Chastity. and Chastity itself being a minion that you play on your opponent's side of the board. So a lot of interesting interactions there. You're able to potentially, if they've got almost a full board, maybe you drop Chastity and fill their board up completely, and maybe that blocks them from being able to play a card that they need to get on the board. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff happening with Seven Deadly Sins, and I can't wait to see what decks and strategies our community comes up with there as well. But yeah, that's pretty much us. So we'll call it there. So for everyone else, it's just after 9 a.m. Sydney time, because obviously we do have that 15-minute delay on this stream. Don't forget that we are actually adding some additional packs and bundles for the Seven Deadly Sins. So again, check all our socials for the links for those, or on the rainy.io website if you're interested in potentially picking up some of those cards or packs, and then cards when we turn on pack opening. Um, but yeah, from the entire Rainy Studios team, thank you so much for everyone for joining us for this live broadcast. Definitely keen to hear your feedback on Telegram and Discord, how we went, how the stream was, and yeah, we're definitely looking forward to doing more of these in the future as well. Huge congratulations to both Huncho and Trixo. Trixo obviously just coming up short today, but still walking away with some cool prizes and some of those panda points there as well. Um, I'm Alcatraz on behalf of Artkin and the rest of the team. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll catch you at our next tournament.
Thanks heaps. Good to see you guys, and speak to you on Telegram or Discord.